Greetings folks, welcome back to the landscape. Been exploring a new location today, somewhere different, quite different for me anyway, and I've been following a little watercourse. And it is a little watercourse. It's not a grand spectacle, it's not a huge river, it's not a raging waterfall. It's I presume it's a drainage channel, but anyway, it looks pretty natural. But it's a small watercourse, and at various sections around the watercourse, there are areas where it either turns or there's logs or rocks or whatever. And that then encourages the water to make this, lovely tinkling sound that a low volume of water makes as it moves around objects that it encounters. So I must have been wambling around now for, I don't know, a couple of hours at least. And I've had this noise, this tinkling, soothing, quiet water noise in my head the whole time. And I found a section where I can actually get reasonably close to the water itself. And I was thinking to myself, there's got to be an image here. There's got to be a combination of water and rocks and other objects that can portray what's been going around in my head, what it is that my ears have been absorbing the entire time that I've been here. And it's taken a little bit of finding, actually. There are quite a few areas of water that are disturbed, but trying to find one that best encapsulates what's going on in here, that's actually been quite a challenge. But I think I've found one. It's going to be quite difficult actually to show you this on the back of the camera, so I might have to look at it and explain it to you. Let me just show you the camera very quickly and you'll see what I mean. Okay, so there is my camera. That's my Sigma FPL, and I am using the 70-200 lens because my object is a fair distance apart. Also note I've got it in portrait orientation. I'll come to that in a second. But let's see if I can persuade the Osmo to look at what it is that I'm trying to photograph. So it's this water movement here that has caught my eye, principally because it contains a lot of what I've just spoken about. So there is quite a large rock here. There is some detritus on top of that rock. There's other bits of branch and leaf and so forth scattered all around. And you've got a very obvious water movement that's coming down here on the left-hand side of the rock. The stones and what's underneath the water, it's difficult for you to see in this view, but it's warm. The colours are quite warm, so it's a bit false, but hopefully you get the idea. I'm using the polarizer to cut through the glare, and now you can see the warmth in the stones and the soil and so forth that's underneath the water. So that warmth already has a certain amount of appeal. I've spoken about the polarizer. I've twisted it so that most of the glare is removed, but you can still see these individual movements of water where the water has been actually moved up into a bit of a froth. Now, it's generally said that the landscape orientation, so what you're looking at right now, that tends to be a calm, peaceful, restful orientation. But remember me saying about my camera not being in that orientation. I've actually got it in portrait orientation. Well, the reason for that is quite straightforward. Forgive the angle of view. That's because the the LCD is actually tilting up to the light. So I'm having to tilt down, but hopefully you can kind of see what I mean with my orientation, and hopefully why. It's because we've actually got this main run of water actually moving down through the frame from top to bottom, but it's still quiet and it's gentle, and hopefully from this view you can really see the impact of the polarizer cutting through the glare. And if I just twist the polarizer, you know, that's the full glare view. That's sort of like more or less where we were. Now if I spin the camera to, and I'm going to have to redo the polarizer, and I'll just recompose very quickly, lift it up. That view didn't work. It didn't work because this main flow of water, which is where the notion of the noise is coming from, it's actually very small. Even if I zoom out, it's worse. It becomes much smaller and quieter in the frame. Going portrait, and I'm just going to recompose very quickly whilst you're watching, which is very dangerous because I'll never get it back exactly where it was, but I'll get a rough idea. There we go, something like that. Putting it that way round actually means that this movement is our main focus. That's the main subject within the image, which is weird because the portrait orientation is normally associated with energy and urgency and so forth, but in this particular scene I think it's the better orientation for saying what it is that I want to say. Shutter speed, quite quick. I've done that deliberately by upping the ISO to 800. I don't want these movements to be really milky. I want there to be a certain amount of crispness in them, and having a shutter speed, it's 25th of a second, not 1/25th, that's just enough to capture some of these bubbles and this sort of crisp motion that you can see up here. What else can I say? Focus is bang in the middle. Generally you would focus, or I would focus, a third in, because generally depth of focus is 1/3 back, 2/3 forward. But the camera is more or less level to, or at least the sensor plane is more or less level with the water itself. And also what's going on down here is nowhere near as important as what's going on up there. That needs to be there because that completes the journey. But the main section in the middle, that's where all the noise and movement is being communicated. That's summarizing what I've been hearing all day, walking along this little watercourse for a couple of hours, having a Womble brain in neutral, having a look at the potential. So I hope you liked the image, and I hope you also get the idea and understand some of the choices that I've made that resulted in the final image. I think if there's one thing to get out of the video, it's that having a clear idea of what it is that you want to say, that then drives all the decisions that you make behind your camera, and consequently the decisions that you make when you get home and you process the image and print it as well, hopefully. And that's definitely been a little journey that I've been on today, making decisions that most of the time I don't even think of because they just come to me so naturally. But I thought it was worth kind of explaining the why, and then going through the how, and then showing the final result. Anyway, that's it for this one. If you've liked this video, consider giving it a thumbs up on YouTube. If you're not a subscriber and you like landscape photography and this kind of content, then please do consider becoming a subscriber if you're not already. It's free and you can unsubscribe at any time. Right, I'm getting a bit thin in the middle, as my photo buddy would say. I think lunch is calling. So I'm off back to the car to go and get my sandwich. But until we are out in the landscape again, everybody, take care, stay safe, look after each other. Bye for now.